lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow, I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt the glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me.
Formula 2 is one of the key steps many drivers will take on the path to Formula 1. It is a championship where the best up-and-coming drivers in the world must compete in identical cars.
I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell instead of death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me for. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone.
Hello guys, welcome back to the last stream. Today we're gonna play F1. We already played F2 last time, so let's continue. It's time for F1 now. Okay, entering the Abu Dhabi.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive. As we wind down from the excitement of qualifying, here's a look at your top 3. An ART, Vips, and Jack Aitken. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow where we'll be live with all the action, and until then, goodbye. Welcome then to the United Arab Emirates. Our F2 drivers are on the grid and we're moments away from lights out for the start of the Formula 2 Abu Dhabi race. Yas Marina Circuit is a 3.2-mile racetrack built on the man-made Yas Island. In addition to the 16 corners, it features 2 very long straights. Now these will be the drivers' main overtaking chances today into Turn 5 and Turn 7. Here is the grid for today's race, which will be starting shortly. It's ART in pole position then, with Yuri Vips starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Aitken, Tictum, Marine. I'm sitting here quite emotional next to my friend Davide Valsecchi. Here we are at the end of the F2 calendar and the atmosphere is electric. I have no doubt the drivers will be giving it everything they have out there today. I can't wait to get underway.
Hey Alex, you are absolutely right. It's a very special place. This is a track like no other, an event like no other, a jewel in the crown of Formula 2. It's perfect. I think we are in for a fantastic racing event here.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friends. Well done.
Brilliant stuff from ART today. What a superb victory. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
The difference was in the strategy. Credit to the driver for sure, but races like this really drive home how much of a team sport this is. They did a lot of work on the pit wall to really make the most of each stint and to make the best use of these tires. But that said, all of that would have been for nothing without a talented hand on the wheel.
ART, the French team who have been racing since the 90s in various forms of motorsport, are once again back on the winner's podium today after a brilliant display of driving skill. And so, driver of the day then, Davide Valsecchi, who do you think you'd go for?
For me, the
So, Team Ferrari, Team Red Bull, AMG. Or we go with the McLaren. If it was like a 25, I would go on with the McLaren, but it's the Team Ferrari now. Sounds like luck.
Great! That's everything we need. You can go back and edit anything we've done so far, and we'll come back here at the start of each season. But if you're ready to go, hit advance to head to the Team HQ. We can start our push.
Here's where you can buy perks to become a better driver both on and off the track. Any fee you negotiate over your base salary in the contract negotiation is cash you can spend on these perks.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen. Found your workstation then? Everything satisfactory? I'm Francisco, by the way. I head up R&D for the team. It's great to have a chance to finally speak with you, and I'm sure we'll be getting to know each other pretty well over the coming months. But for now, I'll let you get settled. Welcome aboard.
Hello folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for this, the inaugural round of the 2022 Formula One World Championship. And I've got to say, it feels great to be back. As is tradition, there is something of an air of a first day back at school on arrival here. But it's more than that, because the new era of Formula One has arrived. And with it, the eagerly anticipated new car regulations, which have been designed to help promote better racing. With clean sculpted lines, swooping rear and front wings, which should allow cars to follow each other more closely, new eye-catching 18-inch low-profile tyres, the return of ground effect, and a reduction of aerodynamic physical adornments, the new cars look strikingly different, all while improving safety and pushing the limit of technical ingenuity. So then, which teams have interpreted the rules most effectively, and which drivers will adapt to their new car the quickest, leading the charge against the rest of the pack? Only time will tell. As always, we can't wait for this season to begin, but for now, from us, that's your...
So this first race of the season is always quite difficult for us trackside and for those back at the factory as well, as it's the first time the car has run since winter testing. The more consistent mileage you can get in these sessions, the happier we'll be. Don't push the car just yet. Track is still green. Try to take it easy for the first couple of laps.
The session has drawn to a close, so let's review our top 3. Russell, a Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc. And that's it, practice is officially over. Until next time, goodbye.
pits at the end of this lap. Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top three, who are a Ferrari, Leclerc and Sergio Perez. And if today's practice is anything to go by, we're in for an exceptional weekend of Formula One.
Modern F1 cars rely on more than just internal combustion to reach their maximum power output. The V6 turbocharged hybrid engines generate an extra 106. Keeping up with the development race is vital for Over the course of the Formula One season, each driver is limited in the number of power units. The multifunction display is a vital tool to give drivers control over their cars and make important information.
that. We're very pleased with that.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. A Ferrari, Verstappen, and Lewis Hamilton. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around the 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's a Ferrari pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, George Russell, and Perez, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Bottas, and Lando Norris, Mick Schumacher, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, and Ricciardo, Magnussen, Joe, Sebastian Vettel, and Alex Albon, Stroll, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? So here we are in 2022 at the start of another Formula One World Championship. It all begins here, the start of the next generation of Formula One. With the end of the second turbocharged era, a new dawn begins. New regulations have been brought in to promote better racing, with the 2 big standout changes being the wheel size increase and the aerodynamics on the car itself. But will this result in us having a repeat fight for the driver championship? Will Mercedes retain their constructors title? We have lots to discuss then with Anthony Davidson, who's joined me in the commentary box for today's event.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Let's hope for some good racing today as well. We can't know at this point how competitive the teams are relative to each other, but hopefully nobody's able to run and hide. We want to see these drivers pushing to the limit all the way to the checkered flag.
What a great way to start the season. Pole position. Now let's take the win. a new fastest lap of the race. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserve that race win, well done mate.
That's it then for another spectacular Grand Prix here in Bahrain, and a real champion's drive to take the win. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. And with that, we wrap up another
Okay guys, that's it for the stream, I think. Good enough. It was a good session. Okay, son. Goodbye, thank you for watching. That's it for the stream. Hope you guys liked it. So, F1, we had only one race F1. F2 was remaining. So we finished F2 and started F1. That was the first race of F1. Bye, thank you for watching.